Hello everyone, my name is Aarti and you're watching HW News. Now we usually talk about Uttar Pradesh Assembly election. We have been also talking about Punjab Assembly election. Today, however, we are going to talk about Goa Assembly election. It's a very small state, the smallest state in the country. But this time around, there are many more players in the small state of Goa, which has made the entire political battle, the entire election battle much more interesting. Well, traditionally, there have been only two parties, BJP versus Congress, the two strong party against each other. But this time around, there are more parties. There is TMC, there is Aam Aadmi Party, there is Congress, there is BJP, Shiva Sena, NCP, and the local parties, the regional parties of Goa, Goa Gomantak Party, Maharashtra Gomantak Party, I'm sorry, and also Goa Forward Party. So there are 8 players in the fray this time around. There are alliances happening, leaders are shifting from one party to another party. Some Congress leaders are going to TMC, then they're coming back to the Congress party. So a lot of activities are going on the ground in Goa. So we decided to speak to somebody who knows Goa by the back of his hand. So we are going to talk to Mr. Subhash Velingkar. He was the Sangh Chalak of RSS Unit Chief of Goa. But later on, just in 2018, he quit RSS and then he formed his own unit called Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So let us talk to him and let us understand what is happening in Goa currently. Let us talk to him. इस वक्त हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं गोवा के वरिष्ठ नेता सुभाष वेलिंकर जी। वेलिंकर जी, सबसे पहले तो आपका स्वागत है HW न्यूज में। मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे ये होगा। नमस्कार सर। मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे ये रहेगा कि इस बार गोवा में जो इलेक्शन है वो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग होता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। एक छोटा सा राज्य है लेकिन इसमें भी काफी सारे जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज है, राजनीतिक पार्टियां हैं, वो इस वक्त अपना हाथ आजमा रही है। बीजेपी है, अब कांग्रेस भी पहले से ही थी यहाँ पे। जो लोकल पार्टीज है वो तो है ही, इसके साथ साथ अभी टीएमसी भी आ गई है, आम आदमी पार्टी भी है, शिवसेना और एनसीपी भी है। तो इस वक्त में आप कैसे देख रहे हैं गोवा की राजनीति को?
इस बार सचमुच ही इलेक्शन कुछ अलग सा होने जा रहा है। इसका कारण यह है कि पार्टियां अलग अलग जो पार्टिसिपेट कर रही हैं वो छोड़ दें, लेकिन पैसे का प्रभाव जो है, मॉनिटरी इन्फ्लुएंस और पक्ष बदलना, एक पार्टी से दूसरे में जाना, कुछ दिनों के बाद तीसरी पार्टी बदलना, ऐसा जो बदलाव आ रहा है गोवा में, वो नया है गोवा के लिए तुलनात्मक दृष्टि। और लगता है कि डायरेक्ट फाइट जो है वो बीजेपी और कांग्रेस में हो जाएगी और बाकी कुछ पार्टियां जो है उनको कुछ सीटें हासिल हो सकेंगे, ऐसा लगता है।
सर, 40 सीटों की फाइट है। इट्स अ फाइट ऑफ 40 सीट्स इन गोवा असेंबली इलेक्शंस। इफ वी लुक एट द न्यूज फ्रॉम द लास्ट फ्यू डेज, it seems like the BJP is exploding within Goa because 4 of the leaders of Goa BJP have left the party. Today itself, Lakshmikant Parsekar has left the party. Yesterday, it was Utpal Parrikar who resigned from BJP. Do you think that BJP is actually exploding? What went wrong with BJP?
What you say is right. BJP is on the verge of extinction. It has already ceased to be a school of thought. Already, it has left its principles quite a long way. And now it is heading towards disaster. The reason is that the dedicated workers that have been the foundation of BJP in Goa, and those who have relentlessly worked very hard to bring BJP up in this territory have been deliberately kept out. And there is a coterie working in BJP, I would say, that does all the setting. And important leaders, say like Shripadji Naik, Lakshmikant Parsekar, Rajendraji Arlekar, they were all set aside. They did not become part to the party to the decisions. the core committee of BJP is now participated by the people who have been taken from outside. For example, Congress walas like Vishwajit Rane, Mavin Gudenu, against whom corruption case filed by Manor Parrikar is still pending, and he was termed as a corrupt person by Manor Parrikar himself, is one of the members of the core committee. And then thirdly, those people from Congress who gave up Congress and entered BJP one fine morning, 10 of them. One of them, Mr. Babu Kavlekar, who is deputy CM now, is also part of the core team. So decisions are taken by someone who never belonged to Bharatiya Janata Party as a thought process. So this is going to lead the party to a big tragedy in Goa.
So, sir, when the BJP actually inducted those defected leaders from the Congress party in 2019, 10 of those MLAs, the party thought that it will make the government very stable and very strong. Do you think that decision is now turning out to be a disaster for the BJP in Goa?
Yes, sure. BJP, in fact, took a very wrong decision to form the government. The government, because there were only 13 members, despite of the charismatic leadership of Manor Parrikar being defense minister at the center, it did not help anyway the party. So the party, because of the anti-incumbency factor that was there already, and because of the betrayal to many assurances given by Parrikar himself, the people felt that these people should be brought down. And as a result, in the same election, which was managed very well with keen interest by Manor Parrikar, the strength of BJP MLAs was reduced to 13 mere, from 21 to 13. And surprisingly, Congress, who was having only 9 seats in 2012, got 17 seats, so as to be very near to form the government. And in such circumstances also, Bharatiya Janata Party used profuse money, Ghoda Maidan, Ghoda Bazar kiya unhone. So this buying of MLAs from Congress Party was done by them. Initially, support of Goa Forward Party was taken, MGP was taken. The very parties who were elected by opposing the BJP government vehemently were taken into the government, and the government was formed by backdoor entry. That is what the people's feeling is.
Well, in this case, in case of Goa, we have seen that Utpal Parrikar, because yesterday he took a press conference, he addressed a press conference and he resigned from the party BJP, and he announced himself as an independent candidate from Panjim, the seat which was held by his father earlier. Now, after the demise of his father also, the seat was not given to Utpal Parrikar immediately. He campaigned for another candidate for the bypoll. And now also, when the time has come for the Goa election, he was not being considered for the post, and that is why he resigned. Do you think his decision was correct?
This decision was not correct. They are going to face it in this election. In fact, the political gimmicks that BJP was doing, it was on the basis of the politics played by Babush Montserrat, the notorious leader in Goa, considered to be. And against him, many cases are pending, criminal cases are pending. So there was a pact even before the elections to take Babush Montserrat in, and therefore less energy was applied by BJP to get Siddhartha Kunklekar elected. So this was also a part of bargaining done by the senior leaders of BJP in the party. God knows what led them to do this. And immediately when Babush was taken, that was injustice on Utpal Parrikar or whomsoever a person with clean characters is elected in the constituency of Panaji, which is the capital of Goa.
So, your son Shailendra Velinkar is also fighting election. Shiv Sena has announced him as a candidate for the Panjim seat. However, Shiv Sena had also earlier said that if Utpal Parrikar contests, then they will withdraw their candidate from the Panjim seat. Do you think it will be advisable for the Shiv Sena to withdraw their candidate now?
No, Shiv Sena has given promise, as I have read in the papers. Mr. Sanjay ji, who is looking after all these things, he had announced it quite earlier that if Utpal stays independently, fights independently, then Shiv Sena will not put a candidate against him in the elections. So that will be done. They will keep up the promise. That is what I feel.
Okay, okay. So there is one more interesting aspect about the Panjim seat, because the BJP candidate from the Panjim seat is the one who was in Congress earlier and now he has joined Bharatiya Janata Party, and he was named a candidate from the Panjim seat, but not the son of former chief minister who was from the Bharatiya Janata Party. So do you think that Congress candidates, Congress leaders who came from outside into the party, who came from Congress into the BJP, are now getting more weightage than the original BJP workers?
Yes, yes, absolutely. They are getting more weightage. That is the feeling at the grassroots level amongst the Karyakartas. All the dedicated Karyakartas feel that they are neglected. And this time, I am damn sure that the committed vote bank of Bharatiya Janata Party is not going to be with BJP any longer. BJP is going to come down even to say even if it gets one digit seats, it will be a great surprise to the people.
So your organization, Bharat Mata Ki Jai, is the organization that you run. There is Goa Suraksha Party. Who will it back in this election?
For your knowledge, Goa Suraksha Mancha has been dissolved by us. And all the Karyakartas in Goa Suraksha Mancha have been absorbed in Bharat Mata Ki Jai. As you are aware that Bharat Mata Ki Jai forms includes those 95% of the cadre of RSS, which came out on the issue of mother tongue. RSS withdrew from the agitation of Bharatiya Bhasha Suraksha Mancha, and therefore there was no option with the these 95% people of RSS to leave the setup of RSS and come out. So that very section is known as Bharat Mata Ki Jai now, and it is very influential throughout Goa. We have about 100 shakhas running in Goa. And our Karyakartas, our Swayamsevaks, our sympathizers know whom to elect and whom to defeat. And therefore, they would never opt for BJP, because BJP, we feel, has betrayed the aspirations of the people as far as mother tongue is concerned. They have cheated people, and therefore that party has to go lock, stock and barrel. So that is the concept before the Karyakartas of Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So we would never propagate in public. However, whispering campaign will go on against BJP, and it is very much influential, I think.
Will you support Shiv Sena, because Shiv Sena is also now coming into Goa politics very prominently, and that too?
No, our Swayamsevaks are wise enough to get themselves diverted for voting to any party. It may be on the issue-based things rather than supporting a party. It can be issue-based. But in all the circumstances, under any circumstances, we will see to it that BJP is defeated.
So that's the sole aim of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, that BJP is defeated in Goa.
Yeah. It's the public aim, in fact.
Okay.
It has been the public which has been betrayed by Bharatiya Janata Party.
The opposition in Goa is now seems to be in kind of a dilemma because the Shiv Sena, NCP, and Trinamool Congress, they are all saying that they wanted to form an alliance with the Congress party, which seems to be a very strong contender in Goa this time around. But Congress party is not agreeing to the fact that they have to form an alliance with all these parties. It is saying that these parties are smaller ones and have just entered Goa political fray this time around. So why should we form an alliance with these smaller parties? It has already formed alliance with smaller parties in Goa, the regional parties who have been there for quite some time. Even today, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut has also made a statement on this. What do you think? Should Congress party in Goa go with these parties who are new entrants in Goa now?
No, initially I had already told you that it is going to be a fight between BJP and Congress only, mainly. And others would be splinter groups, depending upon the influence they have in a particular constituency. Different parties have definitely a dig amongst the people for this election. They have their sway in some pockets. So those pockets will be perhaps won by them. But there will be a straight fight between Congress and BJP, according to me.
So my last question to you is, what will be the most deciding factor in Goa Assembly election, even if the fight is between Congress party and the BJP? What will be that one deciding factor which will be a detrimental factor for the election between these two parties?
It will be an hanging assembly. And still the things are not clear as to how many seats independently a party would get. BJP is going to be definitely decimated. But Congress, it depends also very much on the Congress prospects. And Congress has started its move now. And people are feeling that Congress is getting organized to some extent than what it was in the last election. So that factor is there. And therefore, the scenario after the elections will be a hung assembly.
Well, definitely, as you rightly said, it could be very much possible because there could be hung assembly. There are many players in Goa right now, and BJP and Congress are the ones who have the main fight between them. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. Have a great day.
Yes. Thank you very much. Namaskar.